Latto has responded after an airport video with her baby daughter triggered criticism of her parenting, but the public argument moved much faster than the verified facts. The rapper posted footage of herself pushing a stroller across an airport tarmac on July 15th. After one viewer questioned bringing what he called a newborn onto a plane, Latto answered 2 days later that it was not his child. What remains unanswered is the details social media immediately treated as settled. The baby's exact age, health history, and travel arrangements have not been publicly disclosed. For verified entertainment updates without the rumors, subscribe to Startline Entertainment. The exchange began with material Latto chose to share from her trip. One ex-post showed her pushing a stroller near aircraft at an airport. A second post, captioned "Lil Mama," included a photograph of her daughter covered by a blanket aboard a plane. Neither post provided the destination, flight duration, medical circumstances, or the exact type of aircraft involved. A social media user reposted the airport video and said that no amount of money would persuade him to place a newborn on a plane because he personally struggles with pressure changes in his ears. The comment framed Latto's decision as a risk to her daughter, although the user did not appear to have access to the child's medical information or travel preparations. Latto responded on July 17th. Her full reply included profanity, but the central message was simple. Good thing this not your child. She did not offer a medical explanation, reveal her daughter's age, or provide a longer defense of the trip. Her response rejected the stranger's authority to make the decision rather than attempting to debate him point by point. That distinction is important because some coverage has described the exchange as backlash, while the public record visible in the original sequence begins with one widely circulated criticism followed by reactions from other users. It is fair to call it a parenting debate or online criticism. It would be an exaggeration to claim that a medical authority, airline, or child welfare agency accused Latto of endangering her daughter. No such official intervention has been reported. The other phrase requiring caution is newborn. That was the critic's description. Latto publicly suggested that she had welcomed her first child through a pregnancy video posted May 18th, and she confirmed in a May 29th Apple Music interview that she and 21 Savage had welcomed a daughter. However, she has not publicly provided the child's exact birth date. That means viewers cannot reliably calculate the baby's precise age on the day of the flight. The public timing does establish one narrower point. The airport material appeared nearly 2 months after Latto first acknowledged the birth publicly. But an announcement date is not necessarily a birth date, and treating the two as identical would create a fact that Latto herself has not confirmed. General pediatric guidance also does not support the broad claim that babies should never travel by air. The American Academy of Pediatrics Healthy Children Guidance says flying is generally considered safe once a newborn is at least 7 days old, although it describes waiting until 2 or 3 months is ideal when possible, because crowded airports can expose young infants to infections. The guidance also emphasizes that individual circumstances matter. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention similarly states that air travel is safe for most newborns, infants, and children. It advises caregivers of children with certain chronic heart or lung conditions or sickle cell disease to consult a healthcare professional because cabin conditions may create additional concerns. Mayo Clinic guidance says air travel is typically safe for most healthy, full-term infants after the first few weeks. It also recommends professional medical guidance for premature babies and infants with heart or lung problems. None of those general recommendations determines whether Latto's specific trip was advisable, because the child's age, health, and any conversations with a pediatrician are private. The ear pressure concern raised by the commenter was not entirely invented. Pressure changes during takeoff and landing can cause discomfort for infants because they cannot intentionally equalize pressure as easily as adults. But recognized pediatric guidance describes practical ways caregivers may reduce that discomfort, including nursing, bottle feeding, or offering a pacifier during ascent and descent. Ear discomfort is a consideration to manage, not automatic proof that air travel is unsafe. Another safety issue frequently emphasized by pediatric and aviation guidance is restraint during turbulence. Healthy Children and the CDC say the safest arrangement is an approved child restraint system in the child's own seat. Latto's social posts do not publicly establish how her daughter was restrained during takeoff, landing, or the flight itself, so the pictures cannot verify compliance or non-compliance with that recommendation. This is where the online conversation separated from the available evidence. Viewers saw a stroller, an aircraft, and a covered baby. Some then filled in the missing details themselves, assuming the child's exact age, health, seating arrangement, and level of discomfort. Latto's reply did not fill those gaps. It simply made clear that she did not accept a stranger's judgment about the choice. The exchange arrived during a period in which Latto has been revealing more about motherhood while still controlling how much of her daughter's identity becomes public. Her May pregnancy retrospective included studio sessions, travel, family moments, and scenes involving 21 Savage, but it did not initially identify the baby's name or publicly establish an exact birth date. In the later Apple Music conversation, Latto confirmed that she had welcomed a daughter and discussed experiencing tears and intense anxiety before becoming a parent. She said motherhood was something she wanted, even though the reality of the decision made her question whether she was prepared. Her conclusion was that she was glad she made the choice. That earlier interview gives the current exchange more context. Latto has publicly acknowledged the uncertainty and emotion that can accompany becoming a first-time mother. Her response to the airport criticism was not evidence that she refuses all questions or believes parenting requires no preparation. It was a reaction to someone making a public judgment from a brief social media clip. Her motherhood story has also been closely connected to the rollout of Big Mama. The pregnancy announcement appeared alongside the album campaign and the business and personal video. Her May retrospective showed that she had worked on the project while pregnant and had been thinking about how motherhood would affect her career and willingness to leave home. That creates a real why now angle beyond one insult on X. Latto is learning how to remain a touring and recording artist while caring for an infant, and any public glimpse of that adjustment can quickly become material for strangers to evaluate. Traveling may be part of maintaining that career, but the destination and reason for this particular trip have not been confirmed publicly. It should not automatically be described as a performance, vacation, or work obligation. There is also a privacy balance in the images themselves. Latto allowed viewers to see that her daughter was with her, but the baby was covered and was not being introduced through a detailed portrait or personal announcement. Reposting the material for news context is different from enlarging, enhancing, or using the child's face as click-focused thumbnail material. The story is about Latto's response and public parenting scrutiny, not about exposing a minor. The strongest factual interpretation is therefore narrower than either side of the online argument. Latto traveled with her baby daughter and posted about it. A viewer objected because of concerns about infant ear pressure. Latto told him that the parenting decision was not his to make. General medical guidance says most healthy infants can fly, while also advising caution based on age, health, infection exposure, and proper restraints. What cannot be verified is whether Latto sought medical advice, what safety seat was used, how the child responded to the flight, when the baby was born, or whether she has any medical condition relevant to flying. There is no responsible way to declare the trip definitely unsafe or perfectly risk-free without that information. The start line takeaway is that this story became larger because social media invites people to treat a single image as a complete parenting record. The critic raised a recognizable concern about pressure discomfort, but then applied his own adult experience to a child whose circumstances he did not know. Latto answered in the direct style her audience recognizes, but she did not turn the response into a medical claim. What changed is not Latto's publicly known family status. She had already confirmed becoming a mother. What changed is that her first visible examples of traveling with her daughter opened a new phase of public scrutiny, one in which ordinary parenting choices can become entertainment headlines within hours. Viewers should also resist assuming that disagreement equals evidence of neglect. No official source has alleged misconduct, no medical incident has been disclosed, and no representative has announced that the child experienced a problem during the flight. The verified story is an online exchange about who gets to judge a parent's decision. As of July 18th, no later verified statement from Latto was located that expanded on the response or disclosed additional travel details. Her X reply remains the latest direct public comment identified in connection with the criticism. The unanswered question is not whether strangers will continue commenting on Latto's parenting. They almost certainly will whenever she shares another glimpse of her daughter. The more important question is how much access she will continue giving the public now that even a brief airport post can produce assumptions about private medical and family decisions.